Let's go. Let's go. HST moves back again on this Sunday. First NFL Sunday of the year. Hey, hit that perfect too. Alright, before we kick things off, just want to let y'all know, if you were following yesterday, you seen I dropped last night, we're giving away, doing a little NFL Sunday opening kickoff giveaway. We got two $50 GameStop gift cards. No, it ain't been scratched off yet. So, details on how to enter. If you retweet the Locks tweet, and when I drop the episode with the link, if you retweet that and you're following High Stakes Takes on Twitter, oh, what'd he say? What'd he say? Oh, yup. Joe just sending me his hitters instead of the locks the day before. Crazy. But that's, if you want to enter, make sure you retweet the tweet when it drops and you're following High Stakes Takes on Twitter. And at 1 o'clock kickoff, everybody who has entered will be up for the drawing. You could only win one, but we got two winners. So make sure you enter. Make sure you're following. Yesterday we had 3 hitters along with a 2-team parlay going crazy. The Atalanta game versus Fiorentina, that could have easily had like 5 or 6 goals. Crazy how it didn't hit the over 3.5, but Atalanta versus Fiorentina over 2.5, and AZ Alkmaar versus PSV. Send it. On this show, we got DFS values. We got my prop bets. We got my locks of the week for the first week. I cannot wait. You already know. Got the JC horn. We ready to go. So, and at the end of the show, we got 4 soccer locks today because you already know Liverpool playing at 11:30 versus Leeds. That's going to be a hell of a game. Cannot wait. This day is going to be nutty. Let's get to it. Where we want to kick things off? Actually, yeah. We'll kick things off with the DFS values. All the prices that we are posting and we name for these players are on based off FanDuel. So if you're on DraftKings, it might be a little different, but shouldn't be too far off. So let's get into it. We got Mac Jones. We're going to start and go by QB, running back, wide receiver. We got 1 tight end and a couple defense and special teams plays. So we got Mac Jones, 6,200 on FanDuel. Versus Miami this week. First start, they cut Cam, which is crazy. Shout out Cam. I got the Panthers one tucked away. You know, I had to bring out the Auburn because he don't play for him no more. But Mac Jones, he got given the reins right before the season, which is hectic. But I love to see it. Rookie quarterback, new team. Pats fans, they didn't know what they was doing last year. They just had a hope. They just had a hope for Cam Newton. All of a sudden, you draft Mac. You draft the Mac attack. He's walking, right, with that goofy ball. Everyone talking about it, right? New Patriots QB. Of course, they're going to be talking about it. And then gets given the starting job. I think in the first week, at home, divisional game versus Miami. This is gonna be a fire game. That game's at 4:25, and that's also part of the locks. So, and a little key note about Mac on FanDuel. He's the cheapest starting quarterback this week, which is surprising because I think he's gonna go out there. He'll throw at least 30 times. You got James White coming out the backfield. You got Damien Harris, probably 2 down back, goal line back, short yardage back. And they just traded Sony to the LA Rams, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. And I cannot wait for that game. My next DFS value, we got Sam Darnold versus the Jets. Shout out Carolina. This game's going to be hectic. And Sam Darnold, only 6,500. Max a little cheaper, but it's really, I think either of these, if you don't want to pay too much for a quarterback, you could definitely little flyer quarterback, Sam Darnold, revenge game versus the Jets. I think he's going to go off. And a quick wide receiver in the same game. You already know Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson, they got that rapport. They're going to be out there balling. And Robbie Anderson, he's only 6,200 this week. So I think he might end up being Darnold's favorite target. But he's definitely going to be that downfield wide receiver. So definitely things to keep an eye on. And on to the running backs. We got James Robinson, who is now starting and taking the full reins over in Jacksonville. And that's because mainly Travis Etienne sucks. Because he was supposed to be the starting back, third down back out of the backfield catching passes. And now it's tough, man. Out for the year on IR. But James Robinson, he did show last year he could be a hella productive back. And at 5,900, I think that's crazy value versus a Houston team where you don't know what you're getting from them. They lost J.J. Watt. And Jacksonville, they're going to want to establish the run because you got the rookie quarterback. And granted, it's the number 1 overall pick in Trevor Lawrence. But you're going to want to establish the run early because you don't want to put too much pressure on the rookie that early. But honestly, you never know with Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer, college coach, now in the NFL. You never know what you're going to get out of him. But I think James Robinson, that's hella good value at 5,900. And the next value running back, only $200 more at 6,100. Raheem Mostert. Him on the road versus Detroit. Detroit, they got Dan Campbell, and it's going to be an up and down season, even though I think he'll be a hell of a coach. But you got San Fran coming into the game. Garoppolo and Trey Lance just got taken off the injury report, so they're going to be switching in and out like you've seen in the preseason. And I think Mostert, when he is healthy, you know he's guaranteed to rush for around 5 yards a carry. It's just if he gets the carries. And they did just draft Trey Sermon in the 3rd round out of Ohio State. But I think with rookie running backs, it's going to be tough. He's gonna take a couple weeks for him to really get into the flow. I think he'll probably have anywhere between 6 and 9 carries this week. But I think Raheem Mostert versus the Detroit team, which San Fran should win. I think the spread on that game is like 8 points, but they should win. They should be up by a lot the whole game. So near the end of the game, I think they'll be running a lot. And Mostert, hell of a running back when he's healthy. So at 6,100, I think that should be solid. But if you do have Trey Sermon in your fantasy league, I think he'll eventually become the starter, maybe like week 6 and on. But I think it's going to take him a few weeks just to get really into the mix and then actually take over that starting job. So make sure you keep an eye on that. And the third running back for the DFS values, we got Damien Harris at 5,800 versus Miami. And, yo, these crickets are fucking wild. And, bruh, this shit's hectic. If you live around here, you already know them bitches are wild. But Damien Harris versus Miami, I think, along with James Robinson, getting the run game going for a rookie quarterback, I think that's going to be the same thing. You know Dollar Bill Belichick, he's smart enough to know, all right, we got Mac. He threw him into the fire, but I don't know how much he's going to want to throw him into the fire with the passing attack. But if Matt comes out, he starts gunning, throwing like 13 to 16 to start, something like that. It should play into playing well to Damien Harris, getting maybe a goal line touchdown. And then you don't have to worry about Sony Michel anymore taking any carries away from him. So you could lock in at least 15 carries for Damien Harris. And I think he'll end up with at least 1 or 2 touchdowns. So that's a hella value play. 5,800, James Robinson 5,900, and Mostert at 6,100. That shit's fire. And on to the wideouts. We already went over Robbie. Randall Cobb, that boy, 5,400. I think that's crazy. They're going up against New Orleans this week in a game which should be a shootout. You got Jameis Winston, who's going to want to gun it out there. Alvin Kamara, he's going to get his. And they just released Latavius Murray, so it's kind of sketchy not having that change of pace back like last year, because he actually had a productive year. And not as productive as like a Kareem Hunt as a second running back, but productive enough to where if you're in a deep league, you were probably starting him in the flex last year with all the injuries. So I think with Randall Cobb now in the slot, Valdez-Scantling, we've seen him over the past couple years. It's been up and down, but you got Devontae Adams on the outside. He's going to get all the focus on him and at least double covered. Like, what, 40, 50% of the time? Maybe even more, because they're always going to have the safety over the top eyeing that. So with Randall Cobb, we remember him from before with Aaron Rodgers. That's that slot receiver. He's a beast. And he went to Houston last year. He had to deal with Brandon Cooks. Houston's not really, you see what's going on over there. It's almost like a fucking dumpster fire. So Randall Cobb wanted out of there. Rodgers was like, we need Cobb back on the team. And what happened? They got the deal done. And especially with all that offseason drama that happened with Rodgers, I think they're going to want to come into the season. They're going to want to prove a point. They're going to play with that chip on their shoulder. They lost to Tampa Bay last year in that NFC Championship game. So I think this year they're going to come out, they're gunning. Their eyes at the end of the season is on Tampa Bay. But week by week, you got to get it done. You got to go on the road against teams like New Orleans. Even though Drew Brees retired, New Orleans is still going to put up points. And a quick little note for that game that I just seen. Marshawn Lattimore, bruh, he's now questionable, and that was downgraded to questionable for the game. If he's out, or if he's even somewhat like held back because of some injury, Green Bay's gonna eat in this game. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And my last wide receiver, DFS value on the day, we got Cole Beasley, Buffalo wide receiver, at home versus Pittsburgh this week. And I hope that, Minka isn't rocking with the slot receiver, because you got Stephon Diggs on the outside. But if Minka's over there eyeing Cole Beasley in the middle, that could be a tough day. But I think, and you don't really have to worry about a tight end in Buffalo, because you got Dawson Knox. You know what I mean, up and down, but not a main focus. So Minka will probably shift over to that slot receiver. And granted, they have slot corners and all that, but you're going to want to have that eye on a player like Cole Beasley, who can produce and had really up and down games last year. But those games versus tough defenses where they're going to be getting after him. You got TJ Watt just signed that crazy deal. He's going to be coming off the edge. And they got Melvin Ingram. Got him over from the Chargers. I think that's going to be a beast of a defense. But I also think Josh Allen, I think he's matchup proof. So he's right in that tier like right underneath Mahomes, like right there though. Because Mahomes, filthy, can make any pass, ridiculous, right? $500 million man. But then you got Josh Allen, who's like that goal line running back, you know what I mean? 1A, 1B for touches at the goal line. And he's running the ball like he does. I think that just pushes him a little over, and especially when it comes to fantasy. And I think this game definitely matchup proof. Pittsburgh is gonna be tough, but then you got Pittsburgh traveling on the road. And Emmanuel Sanders questionable for this game with foot injury. And if he has that foot injury, like, I remember, put on some new cleats, right? Didn't really break them in. Boom. And obviously it's not the same, but cut. Yo, and even the slightest foot injury. Bro, if you're out there playing an NFL game going crazy, and especially with all the talk and the force that they cut with and shit, that's tough for a wide receiver. So I think for this game, he might not play as much. And I think Cole Beasley, with all that offseason drama with the COVID bullshit and all the shit he was doing with the vaccinations or whatever, some people like that, they just like to put a fucking light on themselves, right? Make a big scene. That's just kind of corny, but I think he'll be out there, chip on his shoulder, point to prove. And with Josh Allen, matchup proof, I think Cole Beasley, hell of a value play at 5,500. On to the tight end. We got Jared Cook, 5,200. I think that's really like, I think that might be like the 5th, 6th, 7th tight end on there when it comes to price wise. But from the top, where you got 8,500 Travis Kelce, and then you got 7,000 Greg Kittle. Greg Kittle. Yeah, George Kittle's a fucking monster. But at 7,000, I don't know. It's a little much, especially coming off an injury. I think that should be staying away from that. And with Jared Cook at 5,200 versus a Washington team who, yeah, they do have a good defense. They're gonna probably lock down on the corner. Keenan Allen, of course, he's gonna get his. Mike Williams is really up in the air. But you seen what Hunter Henry was doing last year, producing, and then a young quarterback. They need that. They need that go-to tight end. And Jared Cook, with his speed, he's always been known to produce. And especially having his veteran presence on the team and having a vet tight end to throw to, I think they'll be linking up well. This is a sneaky play. Not really the top tight end. Not really a crazy low price. But 5,200, I think you can plug that in your lineup and it'll be solid. So, and especially with Hunter Henry gone now, you're gonna move back in. I think he'll get that link. It might take a couple weeks, but I was hearing in the off season that he was putting in work. That was like late July, early August, putting in work, getting that rapport with this quarterback. So I think for this week, Jared Cook, sneaky play at 5,200. And the defense and special teams this week, I could be a homer. So my first one's Carolina, 4,600. That's my lock of the week. Just because you already know we got Burns, Hassan Reddick, Shaq Thompson, Jeremy Chin is a monster. We just got, you already know it, J.C. Horn on the outside, Dante Jackson. I think Panthers defense could be sneaky this week. And it's not really a value defense because I think they're like 4th on their rank. Actually, let's see what's going on. See, you can't even look at the lineups without logging in. Fuck 'em. But 4,600, I think they're like the 4th ranked as expensive defense. And my lock of the week versus the Jets, Zach Wilson, he could come out and ball, but they don't really. They have Tevin Coleman as a running back. They got Michael Carter, the rookie, Ty Johnson, having a rookie quarterback with Zach Wilson. And I have him. Oh. Actually, yeah, let's jump over to the sleeper app. See, out of BYU. First, right? They basically got rid of Donald for him. Damn. It's gonna be a hell of a game. But I don't think he'll come out week 1 and really ball like that. They did pick up Corey Davis, which is sneaky, but Jamison Crowder, he's out this week. Let's see what injury he got. See? Oh, he's recovering from COVID. Shout out that man. That ass. If it's hitting you a little harder than most, could relate. Make sure you hang in there, brother. Oh, frick, that's crazy. To say he's still recovering from COVID, that just shows it wasn't just a mild case. And past couple years, 6 touchdowns apiece. Last year, not really an ill season, but the year before that, 78 catches for 833 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's productive. That's not bad at all. So missing him, I think that's gonna be tough. And that's in my last defense and special teams play of the week. I think New England at home versus Tua, and New England's always been known, Belichick. He's going to have that team coming out ready. Even though they're missing Gilmore for the first, 6 weeks of the season, because he's starting on the PUP list, I think they're going to be locked in either way. They picked up Jalen Mills, and they got Dante Hightower back. Even though they lost Jason McCourty, they still got Devin McCourty, one of the best safeties in the league. They're going to be out there balling. And Tua, he's still young. Last year in his first year, right, recovered from that hip injury and then didn't really get thrown into the fire like that. They had Fitzy come in there. Fitz Magic was pulling the magic. And then all of a sudden, they just bench him and put Tua randomly in there. So maybe actually they threw him into the fire even more. I don't even know if Tua was even expecting that. And if he was, that only means they was telling him behind the scenes, oh, give you some weeks. And it could have been he was recovering. He might not have been fully 100%. He could have been like 80 for those 6 weeks until he was to 100% and comfortable. So you never know what happened with that. That was always a weird situation. I'm glad to see Fitzmagic over in Washington playing for Ron Rivera. Antonio Gibson in the backfield along with J.D. McKissick catching passes. I think that could be sneaky. But with Curtis Samuel, he's out this week. And then Terry McLaurin, there's going to be a lot of focus on him. He's really up and down, but I'm really trying to see how he does with Fitzmagic, because Fitzmagic is going to ball out there. And with Gibson, how he produced last year, I'm almost positive he's a better running back than Myles Gaskin. And then with McKissick catching passes on third downs, there was weeks last year where he had over double-digit catches. Like, if he could produce like that, along with Logan Thomas, I think Washington can have a hell of a year this year and make another run at that NFC East title. So, those are my DFS value plays for the week. Defenses again, Carolina 4,600 and New England 4,400. And New England at home, they always have a tough time on the road versus Miami. But I think at home, crowd's going to be going crazy in Foxborough. Especially with Mac. That environment's going to be nuts. So, let's get on to my locks of the week. My first lock this week, we got Carolina -3.5 at home versus the Jets. I think they'll easily cover that. You got McCaffrey back healthy. And when you got McCaffrey out there, they did lose Mike Davis, but watch out for Chuba Hubbard. He's going to be coming in, relieving McCaffrey when he's not out there fucking 80% of the snaps, maybe 90% of the snaps. They can't run McCaffrey into the ground again. Dead ass. He's going to be out there. He's going to catch his passes. He's going to get his targets. And especially for Sam Darnold, that's going to be a good check down for him. He didn't really have that over in New York, especially with Frank Gore and then the young running backs behind him. So, but you got Carolina coming in. They just drafted J.C. Horn. They drafted Terrace Marshall out of LSU, who's going to be, 6'3", 205, the 8th wide receiver coming out this year. He's going to be a monster. Watch out. Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Terrace Marshall. The only thing Carolina is ever missing, and since we lost Greg Olsen, is a tight end. But with Dan Arnold this year, I think he could be a sneaky play if you're in like a 14-man league, or say you're in a 12-team league with 2 tight ends, something crazy like that, like I am. I think he could be a sneaky play. And they did a sneaky pickup on defense too. They signed Morgan Fox from the LA Rams, 2-year, $8 million deal. They did pick up Denzel Perriman and then traded his ass, which is wild. But I think that Hassan Reddick pickup, along with AJ Bouye as the little slot corner, I think we should really lock in this year. Got rid of Bridgewater, lost Russell Okung, who was up and down. Didn't resign Kawan Short or Tahir Whitehead or Trey Boston. But I think we got enough pieces to get it done. You got the Jets coming in this year. They got Zach Wilson, 2nd overall in the draft. They went and picked up 14th overall in the draft, Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. Best guard in the draft, according to the experts. 6'5" beast. So, and then in the 2nd round, grabbed Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss, which could also play in Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, that little quick wide receiver. I think they could definitely develop something. Notifications going crazy, bro. Today's gonna be a wild one. But picking up Tevin Coleman, Corey Davis, I think Keelan Cole, I think he's out for this game. Just make sure. I hate to give you wrong info. Keelan Cole, see? Jets receiver. Ooh. Keelan Cole injury. See, I thought I did see that. It's just so much. Let's go. Retain it. But they traded Donald to Carolina, lost Flacco to Philly, didn't sign Frank Gore, and lost Josh Andrews to Atlanta. So when you lose all those pieces, granted they did get CJ Mosley, and he's going to be out there, but I think that's going to be tough. Definitely tough for a rookie quarterback. I think Carolina is going to lock in at home. And for this game, give me Carolina -3.5. Send it. The next game we got Buffalo at home versus Pittsburgh. Now this game, I think it could really go either way. Either the defenses are going to lock in, especially with Pittsburgh going on the road, playing at Buffalo, and then Pittsburgh having a good defense themselves, or it's going to be a fucking shootout. And I could see it going either way, especially with Roethlisberger and all his weapons. You got rid of James Conner. You don't have to deal with whether it's Benny Snell or Jalen Samuels. Now you got Najee Harris out of Alabama, a beast of a running back. I got him in fantasy this year. He's going to put in work. And then with Claypool, Juju, and Deontay Johnson, so many weapons. And it's going to be tough for Buffalo to cover all those. But then you got Buffalo on the other hand. They're going to be out there balling. Josh Allen, we already covered Buffalo, really. Matchup proof. So, in this game, I don't know if Pittsburgh's going to cover. What do we got? What's the spread out right now? See, because it always changes, this one's surprising because Buffalo favored by 6.5, and that's always sketchy because, bruh, if a kicker misses an extra point and they only win by 6 points, bruh, that man better have his DMs closed. Nah, the people who do that, they out there treat. This is all fun. But for that, when it comes to whether or not you know or not if they're going to cover the spread, minus 290, I'm adding them to the parlay. Josh Allen, matchup proof, at home, first game. You already know Buffalo fans falling through fucking tables. Straight choke slams, straight DDTs, straight dildos on the field. They're fucking wildin'. So, I think Buffalo guaranteed to win this game. I don't know if they'll quite cover, but at minus 290, lock them in. Lock them in. What we got for the next game? We got Tennessee versus Arizona. This game, really up in the air. I think it's another 3-point spread. There's so many 3-point spreads this week. And since this morning, see, this is a game we didn't write down because we don't really know how this one's going to go. But Washington at home versus the LA Chargers, that has shifted from Washington being a favorite by a point to 1.5 to now 2 points just this morning. It's tough too because the Chargers, I was listening to the coach talk on the Pat McAfee show, bruh, and he seems like he gets after it and he plays no games, bruh. And with Derwin James back, they got Austin Eckler out there, Herbert, Keenan, Mike Williams, Cookies catching that tight end. I think they could easily win this game. And it's really basically a toss-up because the Chargers are only plus 110 underdogs. But that just shows how it shifts. And there's a lot of games this week that are within that 2 or 3 point spread. So on to Arizona, or back to Arizona versus Tennessee. Arizona, plus 3 on the spread, plus 130 on the money line. We're staying away from it because it could really go either way. You know Henry's going to get his work in. Tannehill, he might be able to pass, but you never really know with him because they run the ball a lot. They just added, I'm pretty sure they just added Brian Hill. Let me just make sure. Bro, them cookies be fucking. And what's crazy is, if you listen to previous episodes, right, we got the whole soundboard and shit. Bro, we added a cricket sound on the soundboard, and this motherfucker's just live performing in the corner. Shit's hectic. But Tennessee, they added, let me just make sure, biggest additions, Julio. See, I'm pretty sure they added Brian Hill. And he played over on Atlanta last year. See? Who's a free agent? No, it was Ito Smith. See? One of the Atlanta running backs from last year. Boom. See what the... Alright, see? If you want to look at depth charts, I'll do a little shout out. The Huddle. If you go to just look up the Huddle and click on depth charts, they got full depth charts for all the offensive players for the teams. But bruh, I can guarantee you, there's no way Tennessee. Oh, they did get rid of him. I'm pretty sure it was Brian Hill. But see, new running back, Mackie Sargent, Jeremy McNichols. That's weird. Because they did pick him up and then just fucking let him go. That's wild business. But in this game, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm staying away from winners, even though Arizona, they added Kenyon Drake. No. They added James Conner to go with to replace Kenyon Drake, because Kenyon Drake moved over to the Las Vegas Raiders. And that boy... See? For the Raiders, he was injured last year. And now, with Chase Edmonds, who filled in, who's that quick running back, the out of the backfield pass catcher, and they brought in James Conner. I think this is a game where to get that run game going a little bit, but Kyler, he's just such a monster. And his cuts last year, bruh, if he's not the quickest or one of the quickest running backs, and that's out of quarterbacks and running backs too. You watch him running the ball, in the cuts and the jukes he makes, just quick. It reminds you of Mike Vick, man. There's no other quarterback it reminds you of. That boy is a beast. So, in this game, with the over-under at 53.5, I'm going to send it. You already know Tennessee is putting up points. Arizona, always a high-scoring team, especially with DeAndre Hopkins out there. They got Christian Kirk. They're going to be out there balling. And then Tennessee adding Julio, A.J. Brown. I'm pretty sure they added Josh Reynolds over from the L.A. Rams, which is sneaky because L.A. Rams now, they must see something a little bit in Van Jefferson. And with the L.A. Rams adding Deshaun Jackson, Matt Stafford is a monster. And as a Panthers fan, we'll get into Matt Stafford in a little bit, all right? When we go over our prop bets. Bruh, Matt Stafford turned down, said, nah, I don't want to play in Carolina. Bring me over to the Rams. Bruh, and granted, you deserve that, right? You're a monster of a quarterback, been in the league for years. You could choose where you want to go, especially when you're moving on from the team that drafted you. But damn, you turn down Carolina? You ain't see McCaffrey? Terrace Marshall? DJ Moore? Robbie Anderson with the... Come on. You gotta be kidding me, dog. And I was amped for him, too. I like Matt Stafford, but seeing that as a Panthers fan, burns a little. Because, damn well I would have loved to have Matt Stafford out there. And that's really the only reason why it burns, man. Because now we gotta hope Sam Darnold ain't out there just not producing. Because guess what? Here we are back to our quarterback problem ever since we got rid of Cam. And Cam's a free agent now. Bruh, bring back Cam. Bring him back. Come on. Motherfucker. But yeah, I'm locking in over 53.5 in that Arizona versus Tennessee game. Lock it in. The next game, we got Philly at Atlanta. And this is another 3-point spread game where Philly +3. That's insane. And granted, Atlanta's at home, but I don't think Atlanta's defense is like that. Like, who'd they add? They lost more than they added. They lost Darqueze Dennard to Arizona. They lost DeMonte KZ over to Dallas. They lost Ricardo Allen over to Cincy. And Keanu Neal over to Dallas. Now, bruh, how many more pieces do you want to lose? Alex Mack went over to the 49ers. That's a huge vet-type center that they lost. And then getting rid of Julio, you're putting all the reins in Calvin Ridley's hands now. That's crazy. Granted, they drafted Kyle Pitts, who's going to be a monster this year, just because they traded Julio. But damn, And granted, they added Mike Davis, who's a solid running back, and he's gonna produce this year, because Matt Ryan, when he had Devontae Freeman, and when they was balling, bruh, he was catching passes out the backfield, running screens like it was nothing. And if you see Mike Davis last year over in Carolina with Bridgewater, bruh, Mike Davis is gonna produce. So I think in this game, when you got Philly coming in where it hurts, they got the new coach in Sirianni. It's really gonna be up and down. But if you look at who they added Ryan Kerrigan, they added Eric Wilson, Steven Nelson, and Anthony Harris in the secondary. They got rid of Carson Wentz, traded him to Indy. Lost Corey Clement, not really. He was just playing so much last year, or over the past few years, because Miles Sanders was hurt. But Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey no longer on the team. But I think Jalen Reagor, they drafted Devontae Smith. They picked up Landon Dickerson out of Alabama to be their center. Said he's the best center out of the draft, 6'6" monster. And started at Alabama the past 2 seasons. So I think he's going to be an absolute beast. And see, losing Vinny Curry and Malik Jackson, that could hinder their defense's performance. And losing Jalen Mills to New England. So Atlanta's going to come out balling. But I think Philly, they'll lock in. They'll put up points. And going on the road, see, it's tough. It's tough. Because this is really a battle of 2 shitty defenses. And I did pick Philly +3. But honestly, as I just chopped it up and talked about it, this might be a live change right here. With the over-under at 49 points, I think this is guaranteed to hit the over. And since I wrote down Philly, I'll go with my gut feeling. I'll take Philly +3, which is +100 on the money line right now. So I would not be surprised to see that change to +3.5. And if you see it change to +3.5, I take it, because losing by a field goal, I could see that for Philly. And even right now, you don't really want to push, even though you don't lose because of a push. But if that does shift to +3.5, I'd probably take that. And for this game, I'm locking in Philly on the spread and over 49.7. Dude, let's go. First NFL Sunday of the season. Lock in. Lock in. Yo, this is insane, bro. There's no chance. There's no chance it's actually the first NFL Sunday of the year. I woke up this morning. It was like, what? Mid to high 50s out. Yesterday, or a few days ago, had the breeze going where, yeah, it was 60 out, but that breeze makes you want to throw on a little hoodie and chill. You know it's that time of year. Fall's hitting. Let's go. And then, you know what's dope? My nephew's already looking forward to Halloween next month. Bruh, it's that spooky time of year. Let's go. Let's go. High Stakes Takes back. So, the next lock we got, Minnesota traveling on the road to Cincy. Now, Minnesota, 7-9 finished last year, 3rd in the division, had the 27th ranked defense in special teams. That's tough. And that might not be too much of a factor in this game, especially facing Cincy, who, yeah, granted they got weapons, right? They lost AJ Green, which was, he was just trending down over the past couple years. But having T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, he's going to get back. He's going to use his fucking mitts, get out there, start catching that NFL football. It's not going to be a problem. It's that little transition. Sometimes you see players come from college to the NFL, and it's tougher. But I think for Jamar Chase, which last year, or 2 years ago, seeing Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson at LSU, that was ridiculous. And really, I don't really follow college too much until it comes to draft season. Then I lock in with these college players. Just because college, you got players who are earning degrees, who know damn well they're never going to the NFL, but they're starting on college teams. And then you got players who are absolute monsters who are gonna be drafted next year. So it's tough to watch sometimes. Like, you seen Florida State yesterday. They just lost to what? Jacksonville State? Bruh. On a Hail Mary. This is Florida State. This is the Seminole. That whole shit. Come on. That is insane. In Jacksonville State, they had just lost the week before, like 35-0 to UAB. So, this is exactly what I'm talking about with college. Yeah, it might be fun to watch or whatever, but watching it for like, I don't know, like for production and like nasty plays. Like, if you seen yesterday, I forget exactly what quarterback it was. I think, no, it wasn't the Florida State quarterback. It was one of the quarterbacks. It was rolling out, right? And he needed, who got upset yesterday? Oh, it was the Ohio State quarterback who was rolling out, bruh. And he overthrew that receiver so much. That was insane. And these are starting quarterbacks in college. So it's like, it's really up and down. It's fun to watch, but like, not really fun to like, cover everybody. Because these people are really, really up and down. And shout out to the folks that love watching it, because it is what it is. I really watch it when it comes to the bowl games and shit. See when they go into the scouting combine, watch their highlights from last year, because players like James Bradbury, absolute monster, plays on the Giants, used to play on the Panthers, out of Samford, and not Stanford, over in Cali, out of Samford, FCS school, ended up being a monster. So, see what I'm talking about with college. It's pretty dope, but you aren't going to find all those players by just watching games. So, that's up to the scouts. So, Minnesota versus Cincy. I think, little tangent, going wide right. Or if you're watching, that's actually the left. But you got the Vikings coming in. Irv Smith, their tight end, out for the season, which is tough to see. They did trade for Chris Herndon, but tight end position, that's going to be rocky this year. As soon as they traded for Chris Herndon in my 2 tight end league, bro, I picked him up right away. But you never know with those type of players. Oh, shit. Damn, Lewis Hamilton crash on last lap. Yo, yeah, I need to shut off these fucking notifications. But biggest additions, they added Sheldon Richardson and Dalvin Tomlinson to that defensive line. They added Rashad Breeland and Patrick Peterson over in Minnesota, and added Xavier Woods from Dallas to the safety position. Xavier Woods had 70 plus tackles and assists last year, or the last 2 seasons. Bruh, absolute monster. They knew the defense was a problem. So all those key additions, and granted they lost Todd Davis and Eric Wilson, and Mike Hughes, they traded him to Kansas City, which if you trade a player like that, that really shows, all right, we're going to go in a different direction. I mean, obviously, but that just shows you want to go in a different direction. You know what I mean? You don't just trade players to trade players. So I think Minnesota coming in, all their weapons on offense. You're facing a Bengals team who Burrow's coming off that knee injury. You heard he didn't really look confident. Excuse me. He didn't really look confident. And that's gonna be that's how it's gonna be for especially a rookie quarterback who got hurt in his rookie year, or a second year quarterback who got hurt in his rookie year. A knee injury. This is gonna be really his first full season, and knock on wood, hopefully, and I wish he's stays healthy. Wish him the best of health for real, because it's always tough to see fucking players go down with injuries. Don't matter who it is, especially if you love the game, man. But I think it's going to be tough for him to get back, and it's going to take him like 3-4 weeks to actual NFL live game action, because you can play in preseason, and yeah, that's about what, 75-80%, depending like who you talk to in the NFL. But when you get into the NFL live regular season game, like, oh, if we lose, this is going to the standings, bruh, it gets tough, man. So I think this high speed shit, it's really gonna be up and down for the Bengals this year. Joe Mixon, I think he's going to be a solid play. They added Riley Reef from Minnesota for the tackle position. Added Trey Hendrickson on defense, 4 years, $60 million deal. Last year, sneaky year for Trey Hendrickson. And if you don't know about Trey Hendrickson, bruh, last year for New Orleans, 13.5 sacks and 33 QB pressures and only 53% of the snaps that he played. Bro, what? Only playing 53% of the snaps last year and producing like that? Hell of a player that Cincinnati got. They had Eli Apple, which is up and down. We've seen Eli Apple move all over. Chidobe Awuzie, bruh, added him at the corner position from Dallas. Added Mike Hilton from Pittsburgh. Really just threw money at some mid-tier cornerbacks, which could play out for you, could not. But I think Bengals are going to have a tough time in this game. I'm going to lock in Minnesota -3. Send it. What's the over-under for that game? 47 points. If Cincy, if they do produce a little bit, which they could, T. Higgins, he's a monster. But I think it could be a tough game for Cincy. So I'm staying away from the over-under. It'll probably hit the under. You got Minnesota probably put up 31 points. Cincy will probably have 10 or 14. So I'm staying away from that. But I am locking in Minnesota -3 on the spread. Send it. Let's go. Let's go. Now the 4 o'clock locks. We got New England -190 versus Miami. We already covered Mac Jones and all them a little bit. We basically already covered that game. So the lock for that game, I don't know if New England will cover. This will be a hell of a game. You know, division matchups are tough. Especially, this is a battle of 2 quarterbacks that played at Alabama. So it's going to be a hell of a game to see. But I'm going to take New England on the money line. Lock it in. Because Miami going on the road. Tua, first full season. I don't know how it's going to go for them. So New England will definitely win the game. But I don't know if they'll cover. Because that's honestly some odds that might shift. New England -3. That's a -125 favorite. I don't know. See, if that jumps up to 3.5, I'd probably stay away from that. 3 points is probably solid. You know what I mean? But I could also see in them kick a game-winning field goal, maybe being down a point because of an extra point missed or some crazy shit. You know how this NFL shit goes now, especially moving the point after to like I think it's like a 30-yard little extra point now. So many misses. Greg Zuerlein, we had the over 1.5 on field goals made. Bruh, started off like 0 for 3. Motherfucker. But ended up almost hitting the game-winning field goal, but hitting that field goal at the end to give them the lead and forcing Tampa Bay in that position to make that comeback. And if y'all seen, bro, I seen a little video of where Tom Brady, he got the call in for a play from Byron Leftwich, and then he turned over, he was like, no. Opened up his arm sleeve, called his own play, and that was the same play he completed to Godwin to set him up in that field goal position. So, GOAT doing GOAT things. That's how it goes, man. So the next 4 o'clock game, and we kind of already covered this too when we were going over DFS values, but the same minus 190 on the money line. I think I'm looking for trends like that. Green Bay on the road could be tough, but I think this game, is being played right, like somewhere Everbank Field. It's in Jacksonville. Yeah, see? So you got New Orleans, which is right there, granted, but not playing at home in that Superdome because of that crazy hurricane that went through, and God bless all those people for real, because I can never imagine going through anything that crazy. But moving over, can't even play at your home. That's wild. So I think, yeah, they'll have a little chip on their shoulder. Jameis, he's gonna be over there eating the fucking W's. But Green Bay, chip, bruh. The chip on Aaron Rodgers' shoulder gotta just be like straight boulders. That's insane. So I think with New Orleans not playing at home, Marshawn Lattimore getting downgraded to questionable. So that just shows that injury's lingering. It's definitely going to be affecting him. And if you got to cover Devontae Adams and then send help over the top, which you were already going to do, but probably even more now if he's got a lingering injury, Cobb's going to eat in the slot. Big Bob Tonyan, he's probably going to be having a monster game. Aaron Jones, come on. I think everything's trending in Green Bay's direction. So Green Bay minus 190, just like New England. I don't know if they'll cover the spread, but money line could always add it to the parlay. Send it. Green Bay minus 190. And the last lock of the day, we got Sunday Night Football. LA Rams versus the Chicago Bears. And bruh, Andy Dalton, minus 150 to throw a pick in this game. Bruh, I think that's a guaranteed lock. Like, I'm not gonna add it to the prop bets, which we're going over next. But bruh, a minus 150 favorite, I think that's guaranteed, bruh. I think that's guaranteed. And what would be even crazier, which I don't know if it'll happen, but I have a little feeling that if, bruh, Dalton, just seeing him laugh after throwing picks in the preseason, like, ain't shit funny about that, bruh. Even if it was a miscommunication, a wide receiver didn't do something, there's nothing funny. He had a little grin on his face. Ain't shit funny about that, bruh. It was probably like a nervous grin and laugh or whatever. But, bruh, you look like shit in the preseason. You got a rookie quarterback, Justin Fields, just waiting behind you. And if you're saying the red rifle, if you're saying, oh, I'm the quarterback, like this and that, like, yeah, rookies, like, basically they go through I forget exactly what they said, but oh yeah, like their time comes or whatever. But like basically my time is like right now, I just got signed. Understand that ever since you left Cincy, it's going to be tough for you to find a starting job. And let's just be honest. And especially going to Chicago, which they drafted a quarterback. You know what's coming. To even make remarks like that, it's kind of hectic. You got to have self-confidence, but Justin Fields, he might get put into the game at the end of this, or maybe even halfway through. Imagine halftime they come out, Justin Fields just out there balling, leads a fucking comeback. That'd be fucking crazy. But in this game, LA Rams -8 on the spread. I think this is a game playing in perfect. We already talked about Stafford. I don't even want to get into that bullshit. But we got Rams -8 at home versus Chicago. I think that's a guarantee. By tonight, it'll probably shift to like 8.5, 9 with all the money coming on there. It's saying the -8 spread is even odds along with +8, basically saying either or is going to happen. But I think they're guaranteed to cover. With the over-under being at 46.5, I'm going to stay away from it. But I think Stafford, who is already familiar with playing Chicago, and now, like, he's played with Megatron before, Hall of Fame wide receiver. Shout out to him getting to the Hall of Fame. But having Kupp, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Deshaun Jackson, Higbee, solid tight end. Granted, they don't really have the running game, but when you got Matt Stafford, he is guaranteed. Yo, this motherfucker didn't just start cutting the fucking lawn, bro. Bruh, I'ma fucking stab somebody. Dead ass. This man is out his tree. Out his tree, bro. I'm pissed. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I'm pissed, bro. You can see boys is getting... Heat is rising. But fuck it. We gonna end the show with the prop bets and lock in LA Rams -8. So the prop bets, we're just gonna run through them quick. Najee Harris, over 58.5 rushing yards. Buffalo gave up 4.5 a carry last year, plus 120 yards on the ground per game last year to running back. So lock it in. I think he's gonna have a hell of a year. In the first game, he's gonna be balling out. Robbie Anderson, revenge game with Sam Darnold, over under on his receiving yards at 51.5. I think that's a guarantee. He's that long ball catcher. Pause. But he's gonna go. Alright, either way I say, he's gonna go deep for it. But versus the Jets, they gave up 276 yards per game through the air last year to the quarterback. So I think Robbie Anderson guaranteed to catch a good amount of passes from that man Sam Darnold in this game. Next one, Matt Ryan in what should be a shootout versus Philly. Over under on his passing attempts at 36.5. Sneaky shootout game. Mike Davis, hell of a target out the backfield, so that's a lot of dump off passes. And for 36.5 passing attempts, I think that's guaranteed. They aren't gonna really wanna hit the run game like crazy. You have all those key losses for Philly in the secondary. I think this is a perfect game for Matt Ryan at home to put in work. Damien Harris, over 13.5 rushes. New England's gonna want to get the... Thank you. Damien Harris is gonna want to get established on the ground. Over 13.5 rushes, I think, is a guaranteed, and especially with the rookie quarterback. And against Miami, who gave up 116 yards per game, plus 4.5 per carry last year, I think they're gonna get out there, especially with Sony Michel gone, and they're gonna lock in. So locking that in also. And the Sunday night prop bet lock, Matt Stafford versus Chicago. I think he's gonna come out balling with all them weapons on offense. And the over-under at 1.5, that's a guarantee for his passing touchdowns. Woods, Kupp, Deshaun Jackson, Higbee, Cam Akers. Sucks that he got hurt, man. That's why they had to go pick up Sony Michel. But Darrell Henderson, he's also a beast. But I think they don't really have a running game like that. So they're going to be out there. They picked up Stafford for a reason because they want to throw the ball with all those weapons. And especially with McVay, hell of a coach. I think that's guaranteed to hit. So lock in those prop bets for today. Dropping soon. Who needs one? Who needs one? Alright. So that's the NFL show. We're going to jump into some Sunday locks for soccer. We got at 11:30, we got Leeds United versus Liverpool. I think this is a game where Leeds coming in plus 350 on the money line. Liverpool, minus 143. Over under at 3.5, which I think is going to be goals left and right in this game. We've seen Leeds just give up 5 to Man United to kick off their year. Leeds coming in 1-2-1 to start the season, coming off that 1-1 draw at Burnley. They held 64% of possession, but they were tied on shots with 12 and only had 2 on target. So tough really finding shots in front of the net and not getting them blocked. But they just beat Crew 3-0 in the Carabao Cup, which we've seen other teams have crazy dominant victories. So to only win 3-0 is kind of skeptical. But they did draw 2-2 versus Everton. And losing 5-1 to Man U, I think that's an insane stat. And we just seen Man U yesterday. We didn't know if they were going to cover 2.5. But getting a goal from Lingard in the 90th plus 2 of extra in added time was insane. And who seen Bruno's goal? And Ronaldo had 2? Man United, they're going to be fucking filthy this year. But Liverpool coming in 2-1-0 to start the year. Haven't lost yet. They are coming off that 1-1 draw versus Chelsea, which they had 24 shots, but only 7 on target. Held 66% of possession, but they couldn't score the whole second half after Reece James got red carded right before halftime. So it's kind of tough, but we also seen in games where players get red carded, it's tough, man. It's tough to score. They take out an attacking player, run like 5 in defense, 4 in midfield. Or 3 in midfield, maybe 1 attacker. It's tough. So they didn't give up goals to either Burnley or Norwich, which granted they shouldn't, but not scoring, it's really up in the air. With the over under at 3.5. See that's tough. That's tough. See, I wrote down over 3.5, but that's at plus 140. Let's see if that changed yet. Because it probably did, honestly. Because being a plus 140 favorite, oh, damn. See how they airplane mode on. Over here trying to look at fucking. There it is. Total. See? Filthy. Let's go. Over under did move back down to over 2.5. I'll take that all day. I think Liverpool will score at least 2 leads. They might sneak in a goal, but Van Dijk, straight monster. Monster. And we said early on in the Premier League preview that it might take him a little bit to get back into... Bruh, no. He is in top form. And that's just... Shout out to the trainers and all that, getting him back into shape. But that's also a lot into the player and just being determined to get back to top level. So give it up for him. So for this game, for sure locking in over 2.5, which is my minus 170. And then Liverpool minus 143 on the money line. Locking them both in. There's been 9 total goals in the last 2 matchups since Leeds was just recently promoted last year. So goals left and right for it to hit over 2.5. And you might want to get it early, because once people notice that hits 2.5, they're going to go, and it'll probably shift back up to 3.5. So make sure you get it in early before it shifts back. And the next lock of the game over in La Liga, we got Espanyol versus Atletico Madrid. And this is a game where with the over under at 2.5 and the over being plus 140, that's also tough. I can see Atletico not really scoring much because they're going on the road, but they'll probably put up at least a couple goals. But they've been locking in on defense. I just want to make sure that time right now. Well, see, that's wild. I wrote down the time for every game, but not that one. That's insane. And they ended up winning in the 90th, +9 after going down 1-0. What? That must have been an insane game to watch. See, Lamar hits dramatic 99th minute winner for Atletico. Wow, that's insane. Well, on to the next one. We got at 3 o'clock, Real Madrid versus Celta Vigo. Real coming in -280 on the money line. Starting off the season 2-1-0, coming off that 1-0 victory versus Real Betis. Held 50-50. It was really a 50-50% possession, which versus Real Betis, it could get tough, especially in that little matchup of both teams. But only 3 of their 13 shots on target, and drawing 3-3 versus Levante in the game before that. It's tough. They have scored 7 total goals in their first 2 games, but with only 1 goal versus Real Betis, I think it could get tough. So for this game, I'm staying away from the over-under of 3.5. And that's honestly another one that might have changed, because that was another one where the over was at +140. Oh, actually, it did change, but it didn't change to 2.5. That moved from the over 3.5 +140 odds down just a little bit to +130 odds. So a little bit of money coming over there, but I'd be skeptical about it, especially playing Celta Vigo, where they haven't won this year, but they're only coming off a 1-0 loss to Bilbao. Held 62% of possession, which is solid. Had 13 shots, but they didn't have a single shot on target, and they let up a goal on the only 2 shots that they had against them. So that's tough. And in the game before that, a 0-0 draw versus Osasuna. And kicking off the year in their opening game, lost to Atletico Madrid 2-1, which putting up a goal against Atletico, as we've seen today, can happen. So could have been a sneaky goal. But in this game versus Real Madrid, and only having 1 goal in 3 games to start the year, I think I'm going to stay away from the over-under, and I'm going to lock in Real Madrid -280 on the money line. They'll probably win by 2 goals, which the handicap bet right now is -105, basically even odds for them to win by 2 goals. But it could get tough. Benzema's been playing out of his mind this year, but I'm pretty sure they're also missing Toni Kroos. So definitely watch out for that one. And the last lock for the soccer locks of the day, and to finish off the show, I cannot wait. We got AC Milan versus Lazio over in Serie A. AC Milan +115 on the money line. Lazio +225. We got the over-under at 2.5. Oh, Thiago starting for Liverpool. Let's fucking go. See, notifications hitting like a mahaba. And then over in Serie A, see, that shifted just a little bit. AC Milan now +120 on the money line, and Lazio +210. So I think this is a game where I think it could be a 2-2 draw, but I'm not exactly sure who is gonna go and score those goals. Could come from either team. You had AC Milan in their last game put up 4 goals versus Cagliari, but all 4 of those goals came in the first half. They held 60% of possession, had 17 shots to Cagliari's only 6, but only also have 5 on target. So with all 4 of the goals coming in the first half, really a boring second half. Damn, I forgot. Actually, we gotta change this shit. I'm about to get hit with the copyright. But I think it was really probably because they scored those 4 goals in the first half. They probably came out and was like, all right, second half, we already won this fucking game. So that's probably why there weren't any more goals. But if that's like a Liverpool team, they're going to want to be scoring left and right. They're going to want to go and put up, 5, 6, 7, if they could. And versus a Lazio team, who is also 2-0 to start the year, coming off a 6-1 win versus Spezia. Held 60% of possession in that game. Had 10 of their 18 shots on target, which having double-digit shots on target, that's monster. And then you got Ciro Immobile, who had a hat trick in that game. Could have had 4 goals, but missed the penalty. Missed the easiest one. But I think Felipe Anderson playing on that outside, even though they lost Correa, I think Felipe Anderson back on Lazio, hella pacey. He's a beast of a player. I think he played over. I didn't even know he played on Porto last year. That's crazy. That's just how much he made a name for himself over there. And it could have been tough getting in with the coach. You never really know. But Felipe back starting for Lazio. Hell of a squad. I think the over-under sitting at 2.5 is minus 130 right now for it to hit the over. I'm going to take that. This game's at 12. I'm going to lock that one in. That has hit in the last 4 meetings. So if you got the over hitting in 4 straight meetings, sometimes it's like, oh, the 5th game is going to not hit. But there's little things you got to look at. And if it doesn't hit, I just fucking jinxed it. But 2 top teams over in Serie A. I don't think you really lock in defensively. I think it's going to be a hell of a scoring game. And lock in over 2.5. And that's, wrap it up, son. Wrap it up, son. Let's go. I'm going to shout out. Where they at? I'm going to shout out BetUS sending me the Insider's book. College and the NFL. Let's go. Double G giveaway. Couple GameStop gift cards. $50 each. Go get yourself a little something. Put it towards something if you're trying to buy whatever. Go get Madden. Throw it towards Madden. Something. NFL season's back. I cannot wait. And at 1 o'clock, the tweet, as soon as it hits 1 o'clock, out of all the people that retweet, and it could be, this podcast on Twitter got 21 followers right now. If this shit hits, right, it could only hit fucking like 30 retweets. Couldn't even get up there. You never really know. So, giveaway. If the numbers are low, boost your odds. So, if this fucking 10 retweets, guess what? 2 out of those 10 winners are hitting. So make sure you're following when we drop this podcast with the link. And you're going to see, because it's going to say NFL Sunday giveaway, blah, blah, blah. Latest episode out now. Once that pod drops, retweet that. As soon as 1 o'clock hits, we're doing the drawing. Everyone who is retweeted and following is entered in. And we're going to draw 2 winners at the 1 o'clock kickoff. So, and winners will be announced after the 1 o'clock games, just because we want to lock in, make sure Panthers fucking win. And I cannot wait. So, let's go. The double G's. We out of here. HST Moon's back again for this hell of a Sunday. And on that note, let's get it. Let's get it. And that's High Stakes Takes on Twitter. Just to show you the little. Maintaining 64%. Hit at a 50% clip yesterday, but should have had more hitters. Bruh, in the Premier League, there was only 1 goal out of all the 10 o'clock games in the first half. 1 fucking goal, and it was by Man United and Ronaldo. Insane to start, but it's how it goes sometimes. We're back again, and make sure you go check out NFL Sunday giveaway. Let's go. let's go. Back again. And then Jay, where is he at? Oh, turn it up.